Since the beginning of humanity, people have wondered about the origins of the universe. When they got tired of wondering, many people and groups made up creation stories. They all seem to be trying to explain the same things, how and why we are here. Sometimes the stories from very different times and very different geographical areas are surprisingly alike. Other times, people living during the same time, in close proximity, have a really different explanation. This video goes along with our December 7th, 2019 exhibit, Creation Stories from Around the World. Some are well known, some are obscure. Some are connected to major modern religions and some to religions that are extinct. And we've chosen artistic representations to go along with each creation myth. This is The Birth of Venus by Sandro Botticelli, which he created around 1485. After he finished 3 frescoes in the Sistine Chapel for Pope Sixtus IV, Botticelli came home to Rome and painted this very rare, non-religious nude, and it marked the revival of ancient mythology within the context of Renaissance art. This piece has such an interesting history. In 1497, it escaped the bonfire of vanities of Dominican monk Savonarola, who waged a 4-year war on profanity in art. He probably was not very fond of the backstory for the painting. As legend has it, Venus was conceived when Cronus had a violent disagreement with his father Uranus. This resulted in Uranus being separated from his most private parts, which were cast into the sea and fertilized Venus. Botticelli's real inspiration probably more likely came from poetry about Venus being born into the world as the goddess of beauty, as the winds shower her with roses as she steps off her shell. In the Christian interpretation, the nudity of Venus reflects the nudity of Eve in the Garden of Eden. And since one of the Virgin Mary's many names is Stella Maris, Star of the Sea gave birth to Venus just as the Madonna gave birth to Jesus. This is The Creation of Adam by Michelangelo, created about 1512. I'm guessing it's one of the most reproduced and parodied images of all time. It's actually the 4th image chronologically in Michelangelo's illustrations of the biblical creation story. Michelangelo paints God as an old white guy in a cloak, and Adam naked, no cloak or even a fig leaf. God's outstretched arm is filled with the power of life, and Adam is about to receive it. I don't know about this for sure, but maybe the people surrounding God could represent Eve, who's protected by God's left arm, and the entire human race who's yet to arrive. In the Jewish Torah and Christian Bible, the book of Genesis says that in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and all things, including Adam, in 6 days, and then rested on the 7th day, which he made a special day. This is The Leviathan by Gustave Doré, which he painted in 1865. The Leviathan is also a part of some creation stories in Hebrew and Christian writings. I guess it represents the darkness or void that was defeated to make way for all of creation. This one in a similar story is called Chaos Monster and Sun God. An ancient Babylonian creation myth features a chaos monster and a sun god, and the good god drives out the evil spirit. This bas relief is at the British Museum in their collection of discoveries in the ruins of Nineveh and Babylon. According to Chinese creation stories, the universe began as a big black cosmic egg. Inside this egg was Pangu, who slept and grew for 18,000 years until the yin and yang came into balance. Here, Pangu has cracked the egg and split apart the yin and yang. The top half of the eggshell became the sky and the bottom half the earth. But this took Pangu another 18,000 years, and he needed the turtle, a kiln, that's the one that looks like a unicorn, a phoenix, and a dragon. The illustration shows Pangu using an axe to separate the yin from the yang. Just as Pangu was finishing up his work and his second 18,000 years, he died. But don't feel badly, because in this story, none of his body went to waste, even his fleas. His breath became the wind, mist, and clouds. His voice became thunder. His left eye the sun, and his right eye the moon. His head the mountains, and the other far reaches of earth. Pangu's blood became the rivers. His muscles, the fertile land. His facial hair, the stars and Milky Way. His fur, the bushes and forests. His bones, the minerals. His bone marrow, diamonds. His sweat, the rain. And all of the fleas on his fur were carried by the wind and became all of the animals on earth. Another egg story is a Hindu creation story. This image has a Sanskrit name that I can't pronounce, but it translates into the golden womb. That is the source of the creation of all of the universe. In another Hindu creation story, the Rig Veda mentions that at the beginning there was Purusha, who had 1,000 heads, eyes, and feet. Purusha clutched the earth with his feet, but the gods made Purusha into butter that became the universe. All the animals, the elements, and the three gods, Agni, Yayu, and Indra. Of all the major religions, Islam relies less on myth than most of the others. This is a depiction of the Prophet and his companions advancing on Mecca, and he is accompanied by the angels Gabriel, Michael, Israfel, and Azrael. This image is from a Turkish epic book written about 1388 about the life of Muhammad. We don't want to leave out our own hemisphere, so this is the creation story of the Cherokee. For the Cherokee, the earth was an island that hung from 4 big cords into the ocean. The sky was at first the ground, but the darkness made it impossible to see. So the sun appeared to help creatures find their way. There were 7 days and nights during which God instructed all creatures to stay awake. The ones who did got the ability to see in the dark. The ones who fell asleep could only see in the light. You snooze, you lose, I guess. And finally, we're ending up with the oldest creation myth that we know about. The Egyptian creation myth is gleaned from the earliest religious compilations known to humankind. The world was created from lifeless waters of chaos when the sun rose for the first time. The sun god created 2 offspring. His son Shu represented dry air, and his daughter Tefnut represented moist air. The twins got busy separating the sky from the waters and had kids of their own, Geb, the land, and Nut, the sky. Some versions say that when Geb appeared out of the emerging waters, it was the first time the sun god had a place to rest. This is just a few of the many creation stories that we came across, and we think they're pretty interesting to talk about and to look at. Please subscribe to our channel for art, music, and poetry that you won't find anywhere else, and thanks for listening.